Morning. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Nicholas Semedo, Chair of the Statutory Public Meeting. Before I begin, I would like to provide you with a safety notice for those of you with us in the Council chambers. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate the Council chambers using the nearest exit staircase. If you require assistance, please see our clerk staff for further assistance. I ask that you please gather outside of City Hall in the Farmers Market parking lot and await further instructions. As a reminder, the City of Cambridge Council meetings are broadcasted on the city's YouTube page and archived in the city's website. On that note, we had 82 views on YouTube and no delegates during our last planning public statutory meeting. Please note that we have rules of engagement at council and committee meetings. I ask that you be respectful while others are speaking, refrain from any demonstrations, and I encourage you to actively listen to others. For staff and delegates alike, please be sure that you stand 6 to 8 inches from the microphone at the presenter's podium for optimal sound quality. There is a remote at the podium you may use to advance your slides. As a note for members of the gallery joining us in council chambers, public members are not permitted to enter the horseshoe at any point in time during the meeting. If you wish to speak to a council member, you may schedule a meeting through the mayor and council's office by emailing mayor@cambridge.ca or council@cambridge.ca. Alternatively, we welcome you to gain the attention of a council member by motioning to them from the gallery during a break or at the end of the meeting to speak with them further. Our clerk's team will ask any public member who enters the horseshoe to return to the gallery. Clerk staff will inform the indicated council member of your request. We have one statutory public meeting under the Ontario Planning Act. It is my pleasure to introduce council. Councillor Hamilton, Mayor Leggett, Councillor Kimpson, Councillor Roberts, Councillor Cooper, Councillor Sherreri, Councillor Earnshaw, and Councillor Devine. We embrace our shared responsibility with the First Nations people to take care of the earth and its creatures. We can only do so by walking the path as partners stewarding this land, as we have been given the duty together to live in balance and harmony with all living things. We acknowledge and respect the Anishinaabe, Chinootan, and Haudenosaunee peoples who came before us and who we live amongst. By honoring this truth of past and present, may we come to true reconciliation through listening, reflecting, and learning. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone for joining us for this meeting. We appreciate your participation. As we come together to serve the community, I ask that we create a welcoming and positive environment for everyone. That includes respect, that we listen to each other with care, speak thoughtfully, and engage kindly with one another. Kindness, that we treat everyone, council staff, and the public with respect and understanding. And inclusion, that we embrace diverse perspectives and respect each other's opinions. Together we can make this meeting space, one where respect, kindness, and inclusion are at the heart of everything we do, that this is a safe space. Behavior that is disrespectful, disruptive, aggressive, or intimidating will result in those individuals being asked to leave. A reminder to members of council that the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act requires members of council to declare any direct or indirect pecuniary interest in relation to a matter under consideration. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest, members of council? Seeing none, we will move forward with our agenda for today. Today we have one statutory public meeting under the Ontario Planning Act. I will call upon staff to provide an introductory presentation at the beginning of the statutory public meeting and allow for consultant presentations. Afterwards, I will call for our pre-registered delegations and then open the floor to any members of our in-person and virtual audience that wish to speak to an item. Members of our virtual audience wishing to speak to the item before us may contact us at clerks@cambridge.ca to receive the Zoom link or text the number 226-218-1734. City staff are on hand to monitor this number and email address during the course of the statutory public meeting. Please note that the number is also available on our city website, our agenda, and on the live stream of our meeting located on the City of Cambridge YouTube page. To accommodate anyone requesting to speak from home, council will take a short 2-minute recess after the public call out to allow for callers. Each delegate who participates virtually or in person will be allowed 5 minutes to speak. I remind members of council and the public that there is no debate of the item in the public meeting. I also remind council that the statutory public meeting item will be before council a second time with the recommendation report. This process is for public consultation. Council will consider all oral and written comments prior to making a decision on a planning application. If a member of the public would like to be informed of further reports and/or decisions on the matter, we ask that you please email your name and contact information to our planning division. The contact information for the staff member associated with the public meeting will be shared as part of their presentation. Our only statutory public meeting is agenda number 5.1, proposed official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, 130 Guelph Avenue. We will hear from staff, consultants, and then move to pre-registered delegations, followed by anyone else who wishes to speak to this item. I will ask council that we hold off on questions for staff until we hear from all delegations today as part of the public meeting. We will begin with a presentation from the consultant, Andrew Head, from Dryden, Smith and Head Consultants Limited. Welcome.
Great, thank you. I'm about to propose a $50 million project here. At this time, I'd like to request an extension for the 5-minute timeline. I don't expect to go over it by much, but I would like to be able to get through this entire presentation without being interrupted on it by time.
Thank you, I'll allow that.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of committee and staff. My name is Andrew Head. Dryden, Smith and Head Planning Consultants is pleased to present this proposal on behalf of the Saeed family, owners of Landmark Home and the property at 130 Guelph Ave. Since Akhtar Saeed purchased this property in 1969, the Saeed family has been a vital presence in Hesper for over 50 years, functioning as both landlord and business operator at this location. Building on this legacy, Landmark Homes, under the Saeed family ownership, is committed to bringing a much-needed affordable housing project to the City of Cambridge. This proposed development envisions a 6-story building comprising of 112 100% affordable housing units, complemented by commercial units on the bottom floor. This mixed-use approach will not only provide affordable housing options, but it will also contribute to the vibrancy of the surrounding area. To realize this vision, the following plan amendments are necessary. An official plan amendment to redesignate the subject lands from business industrial to high-density residential. This aligns with the regional official plan and emphasizes the intensification on the built-up area. A zoning bylaw amendment is needed to change the rezoning from business industrial to a mixed-use residential class. This will permit the proposed density and the combination of residential and commercial uses. This proposal is strongly supported by the existing planning policies. The subject lands are within the designated built-up area in the region of Waterloo official plan, where increased density is actively encouraged. The Cambridge official plan designates these lands as a regeneration area, clearly indicating the city's strategic intent for redevelopment in accordance with the relevant planning policies. The site's location borders the Hesper core area, further reinforces the suitability and increased density and supports growth directly adjacent to this key area. Comprehensive studies have been completed and undertaken to assess the site suitability for the proposed development. The landscape and tree removal plan addresses the safe removal of declining trees while ensuring the protection of healthy trees on and off the adjacent properties. Our environmental site assessment confirms the site is environmentally clean. The heritage impact assessment concludes that while the subject property is not a heritage site, the adjacent Coombs resident is listed but not designated, has been carefully considered. Shadow and wind studies demonstrate the minimal impact to the neighboring properties. Photometrics plans that the site will be dark sky compliant. Engineering reports have been completed, confirmed that the site is serviceable and can be safely raised above the floodplain, maintaining safe access. The potential noise source, which include industrial rail and traffic, can be addressed through standard mitigation measures for rail and traffic noise. Collaboration with staff regarding potential redesignation to a Class 4 noise area is underway to address industrial noise considerations. A traffic and a parking study has been completed. To maintain 100% affordability of this crucial housing, we are requesting your support for a site-specific parking reduction based on the following factors. The site is strategically located mere meters from the Hesper core area, offering residents excellent access to amenities and services. The property is situated directly on 2 major transit routes, providing convenient and affordable transportation options. The plan includes card share spaces and benefits from readily available community paths and trails, encouraging alternate modes of transportation. Experience from other 100% affordable developments demonstrates that adhering to parking requirements often results in a significant underutilization. Therefore, we will respectfully be requesting consideration for a reduced parking space size from 2.9 spaces to 2.75 spaces in width. An overall reduction request for a reduction of 30% requirement of the current, an overall reduction of 30% parking requirement. The current concept plan shows 112 spaces where the standards require 158 spaces, and allowing for us to use the visitor and commercial parking spaces as shared. Again, we are discussing with staff and reviewing the conceptual design and parking requirements. Given the current housing crisis, we believe providing affordable homes is more important than strictly following potential excessive parking rules, especially for residents who don't have cars. The current concept plan requires minimal site-specific amendments. The required road widening may lead to a minor reduction in the landscape and amenity areas. We are actively discussing with city staff to optimize these aspects. A potential rooftop amenity area is also being explored to enhance the residential experience. The urgent need for affordable housing in Cambridge is well documented. This development represents a significant opportunity to address the critical shortage, directly aligning with the strategic objectives outlined in the provincial, regional, and local planning policies. The Said family's longstanding commitment to the Hesper community underscores their dedication to the success of this vital project. We have had productive preliminary discussions with staff and are actively incorporating the feedback to encourage an even stronger development. We anticipate requesting the OPA and ZBA to include site-specific amendments to allow for the parking reduction of 30%, minor adjustments to the amenity space and landscape area in around the 10 to 15% once all staff comments are finalized. We are confident that this proposal offers a well-considered and much-needed solution to the affordable housing challenges in Cambridge. We would be pleased to answer any questions if you have any questions you may have regarding this exciting development, and respectfully request your support for the necessary official plan and zoning bylaw amendments. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does council have any questions for the applicant's consultant? Councillor Shawari?
Thank you, and thanks for your presentation. Since this is going to be an affordable housing a unit, who will be your priority groups? Because you're assuming that many of these won't have a car. Who are going to be your priority groups, or not yours, but the builders, when deciding who gets these units?
Well, there's a long list of people who are on many different service providers out there who are looking for homes, especially of the affordable nature. So once we have not considered what the future clientele will be, but that will be some of the sources that we'll be looking for.
If I could just follow on. Yeah, I'm really curious about this because you want a reduction of 30% parking. So we're assuming of this priority group that CMHC defines, which you will probably need to focus on the ones that don't drive.
Well, we can't focus on somebody who don't drive. That's why we're asking for a reduction in parking, because we understand that, well, there's people living in parks and living in the cars. We feel that there's a need for housing more than there is for a need for parking. It's well situated on the transit area. We are in discussions with the affordability team at the City of Cambridge, and we'll be using them to help us vet future clientele and future tenants.
Thank you.
Councillor Cooper?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. And I also want to thank you for doing an all affordable housing unit. Thanks for that. In the same vein of what Councillor Schray was asking about, regards to parking, because we don't actually have any numbers here. I just want to get some numbers here. You state you want a 30% reduction. Okay, so can you just give me the number? What would be required?
158 spaces are required.
And what are you offering?
We're offering 112.
Okay, so that's one per unit. So we're giving up any visitor spots whatsoever?
No, we're going to, if our plans will be to have 100% visitor parking there, the reduction will be on the tenant parking. So instead of one space per unit, it'd be 0.75 spaces per unit.
Okay. Yeah, my concern is that we've had a housing report recently, and obviously, we need affordable housing, but there's also, we know through the report that families need it just as much as anybody else. In fact, you could say with the expense of their homes with extra bedrooms, maybe they need it more. So that will leave me, if I can just go to another brief related question. Single, 2-bedroom, 3 bedrooms, what this is going to incorporate?
It's going to be a mix of all three, 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units.
In equal proportions?
More of a 2-bedroom,
Mostly 2?
or 2-bedroom, and the less 1 and 3.
Okay, thank you very much.
The answer is mostly 2 bedrooms with with 3 bedrooms and 1 bedrooms. Again, we're not at the final design stage of this plan right now, so we're still working with that, and we're working with staff to make sure that we're bringing a project that's going to fit well in the City of Cambridge here.
Councillor Hamilton?
Thank you, Chair Mehta, through you, and thanks very much, Andrew, for your presentation. Can you clarify the commercial space that you have underneath? Were you envisioning like a large commercial space, like a department store? Would it be several small units? Do you have any idea of what type of merchant would go?
Well, we've had lots of discussions with staff about it, and it's ongoing. What we're looking at is probably more service commercial, your accountant's office, tax office, hairdresser, not something that's going to be heavy parking. We're not expecting like a pizza place or anything along that lines. We're looking at ground floor. It could be located in the basement further. And again, with the designs, we're looking at community spaces. We're looking at all the amenity areas that are going to accompany the residents who are living there. So at this point in time, the defined uses we don't have a defined list of what the uses are going to be, but we are aware of the parking restrictions, and we want to make sure that this is going to fit with the community.
Thank you.
Councillor Devine?
Yes, thank you through the chair, and thank you for your presentation. Under studies, can you call up that slide where you had studies? Can you go back to that, please? Right there. Okay, you've got the property line laid out there. I assume that's the property line in red.
That's correct.
Okay, so where the old Artex building used to be, there's a driveway going up there. Is that driveway going to be maintained to get into the back of that building, or is it going to be used for that lot?
So currently, there is an easement over that property for both this property and the adjacent properties. We are in discussion with city staff about acquiring a piece of that property. City staff have confirmed that it is deemed, what's the word? It's deemed excessive, that they do not need the property anymore. There is some services that are old, that are in the ground. We have had multiple conversations and emails with staff directing us that there will be a sale of these lands to our client to ensure that we have a good, safe access, and the easement to the back property will also be available.
So the easement will be maintained?
Yes, it will.
Thank you.
Councillor Kimpson?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and through you, thanks for your presentation. Following up with this particular property being located adjacent to other listed heritage properties, and looking at the design that has gone into this, or the proposed design with the different types of materials that are being proposed to sort of break up the facade, would your client give consideration to adjusting the facade to make it blend in more with the adjacent heritage properties, or do you have your sort of mindset on the modern glass and metal look that it appears?
This is the first conceptual design that we've brought to the table. You know, we have to bring elevation plans to staff for part of the complete application. Now, through the comments that we've received from staff as well as the other commenting agencies, we're still working with that to determine what that will be. Those details will be coming out through site plan, and at that point in time, we'll address them. I do believe that we are open to modifying it to accommodate, but we have to keep in mind that this is supposed to be an affordable project, and you know, we have to keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Roberts?
Thank you, Chair Mehta, and through you, and thank you for your presentation. I just have a question. So you're going to have some 2 bedrooms and 3 bedrooms, so likely some families. And I don't think there's any parks really close to here. So what kind of, I know you said that you're going to have reduced amenity spaces, but will you have things for kids to do on the space, or is there a park close by that I'm
Well, it is right across the street is Four Fathers. There's also the Frisbee area.
the bar?
Well, not the bar. Well, that's a great place, I'm sure. But there's they have the Frisbee golf is located right there. There's the trail network, and parks are located within close proximity. I don't know this area particularly well, but I know that they're in walkability. And I do know that we're looking at community rooms for people and things like that, and we will have some amenity areas on site.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Jan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Number one, can I ask next time you come with a proposal that you not put our staff's name on it as if they're presenting it? You've got our staff down on the front of that document.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I was directed by Mrs. Hanneran to put that on there.
Our staff's name should never be on your documents at the front of it, as if she's presenting them. I put them to you. So just,
I understand now. Thank you.
okay, thank you. Now, I'm kind of concerned because an M3 zoning is extremely important and very rare in our community for industrial zoning. I never vote for changing an M3 zoning to residential. I only am considering supporting this because you're saying it's affordable housing, and I think that's needed, but we don't make our decisions on whether people live in cars either, so, you know, to make that comment just doesn't make this go forward, so. So when you're looking at 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom units, I'm concerned when you only have 0.7 or 0.75 parking spaces for that, because you're going to have people in there who are 2-car families and potentially 3-car families. So also, when you talk about purchasing that land, you just had started that conversation with staff, so that still has to be approved by council for that to even go forward at this point in time. So how would this, if you don't get to purchase that land, how would you change this? Would you go forward with this proposal the same way, or what would you do? How How would you enter and exit this property?
Conversations with staff about that parcel started about 2 years ago. Since then, the manager of Realty Services left. He kind of left us hanging for about 6 months. We never heard back from him, even though we were following up. So we had discussions. I do have emails confirming that they're moving forward with it. We would look at redesigning the site. We still have access points that would be available to us. It's just with this piece of property, it just allows us to increase our parking as well as our access to better serve the community as well as the adjacent properties.
So you're saying that our real estate person had agreed to selling you the land, is that what you just said?
I have emails confirming through city staff that that the land is available and that he has deemed it, that it would be a good move for the city to sell it to our client.
Can I have confirmation from staff on that, please?
Mr. Boudou? Yeah.
Through the chair, real estate negotiations are confidential in nature. I can't confirm that comment at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Kimpson?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Question about something that you had brought up at the beginning of your presentation, I guess about the property being strategically located to the core area, being one of the reasons where to support the reduced parking. Where is the nearest grocery store where people who live here could get their groceries from? Is that something they can walk to from where they are? Or I guess where's the nearest transit stop? Where would that be?
There's a major transit station. There's two major transit stops right in front of the residence, or right in front of the proposed building. And as far as the grocery store, I think it might be on Haspel Road. I don't know. Holiday Inn Drive.
Holiday, okay, so there's nothing in the core area where they would be able to walk to get groceries or anything?
No, I don't
Okay,
think so.
thank you.
Thank you. I have a question. What would be the time frame for construction and all that? Is this a brownfield site, and would that add time to, like, for the development? Do we have any idea of how long it would take to get a shovel in the ground and see the project through?
I think this was considered a brownfield site. We've done all of our environmental studies. They've been submitted to the ministry. There's been some feedback from them. We've been resubmitted. We're now waiting for a release letter for a clean site. All of our records show that it is a clean site. So there's no concerns about ministry holding us up at that point in time. It's well underway. As far as, sorry, what was your second part?
Just the general time frame to see this project through, from start to finish.
Well, we expect it's going to be a 2-year build, and we're hoping to get into the ground this fall.
Thank you. Councillor Sherwari?
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question, I don't know if you can answer. What other areas of, what other grants would a project this size would be available to them? Because I know the city with our project has a certain amount. Do you get grants from other government bodies?
We're working with Matthew Blevins from the city planning department, and we've enrolled in the CIP program, right? That is part of the process. It was a brand new bylaw that just came before council and was passed, I think, in December, and that's when we actually waited to submit our application until after that was in place. I don't think that we're looking at other funding right now, but I think there may be some regional grants out there. But with, things are moving so fast, part of the process is we have to have a shovel-ready plan or something that is shovel-ready before we can apply for any grants.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And, Councillor Devine?
Thank you, through the chair. Did I hear right that that's a clean site?
Yeah. All of our documents are showing that it's a clean site. We have not received our ministry release letter. We have had back and forth with them 2 times, and we're coming back, and the site, all of our records show that it was a clean site other than one small spot. It has been cleaned and remediated already. We are waiting for our release letter, which has been submitted for the 3rd round submission about 6 weeks ago. So we should have that submission in that clean letter anytime soon.
Okay, so you've done a phase 1 on it, obviously.
Oh yeah, well, phase 1 and 2 remediation's been completed.
Okay. And you didn't have to go to phase 3?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No, we didn't.
Thank you. And another question I have, would the applicant be open to putting balconies on the building, like as a form of outdoor space? Thank you.
I think that that could be an option, but we'd obviously need to go through that one through detailed design, looking for amenity space as well as as items like that, but I think that could be an option.
Well, thank you for the answers to the questions. I don't see any more. So thank you. We have a verbal presentation from the planner of the file, Jacqueline Hammond. Welcome, Jacqueline.
Good evening, I'm Jacqueline Hanneman, the senior planner with the City of Cambridge. For those watching or in the audience, I am the city planner working on this application on the city's end and will eventually make a future recommendation to council on this proposal. I just wanted to speak tonight regarding the application timelines for this project. So according to the Ontario Planning Act, if City Council does not make a decision within 120 days, so roughly 4 months, of receiving a complete application for official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, the applicant has the ability to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal on the grounds of a non-decision of council. So this 120-day period includes reviewing the proposal, holding a public meeting, which we're doing tonight, providing comments on the proposal to the applicant resubmitting their proposal to address comments provided to the applicant, so that could be comments from staff, agencies, council, and the public, and then city staff making a recommendation for a council decision. So all of that is we're trying to get that done within 120 days. This application was deemed complete on February 7th, 2025, so the 120-day deadline would be June 7th, 2025. This means a recommendation report would need to be brought back to council on May 27th to again stay within that 120-day timeline. So planning staff do work with applicants to meet this time frame. The applicant for this proposal has advised city staff that they do require additional time to prepare and provide a resubmission to staff and agency for our review. Key matters that still need to be addressed that I would note are that site access issue that is requiring possibly a purchase of a small portion of city lands, the on-site parking, and land use compatibility and noise. So I just wanted to note that staff will bring a recommendation report to council as soon as possible, but wanted council to be aware that this application will require additional time above and beyond the 120-day timeline set out in the Planning Act.
Thank you. Mayor Jan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Jacqueline, so you gave us a date of June 27th and June 27th. So is that with the extension of time, or is there other dates?
Through the chair, no, sorry. The 120-day deadline would be, like 120-day, would be June 7th. Because of where council meetings fall, like we don't have a council meeting every single day, right? So that 120 days, we have to fall within the council schedule. So the date that I would have to meet would be May 27th, so that we're not going above and beyond the June 7th date. I have to be at council before June 7th to meet 120-day timeline.
So the dates you gave are the correct dates?
Well,
May 27th.
So May 27th would be the date I'm supposed to come to council to meet 120 days. We're saying we don't think we can make that date. If I come to a council meeting on May 27th, my recommendation report would need to be written by next week. I don't have a...
So when is that coming then?
Right, so that's what we're saying. We don't really have a timeline yet of exactly when that would come, because I need a second submission from the applicants before I can really make an informed decision to council or a recommendation for council to make a decision. So I really need a second submission to be able to provide.
Okay.
And the applicant is the one requesting that timeline increase, and we'll work with them to do that.
Okay, thanks. That's good. Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you, and we will have an opportunity for more staff questions after we've heard from the delegations. So staff have confirmed that we have no pre-registered delegations for the public meeting. I want to remind the public that should you wish to call and to speak to this item, please email clerks@cambridge.ca or text 226-218-1734. Staff are on standby to receive your request. And if you're in the audience, feel free to put your hand up and get our attention over the break if you would like to speak. So with, so now I'm going to call for a 3-minute break. Well, welcome back, everyone. We have no delegation requests. I've confirmed that with staff. A reminder to anyone interested in the proposed official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment for 130 Guelph Avenue, you may submit written correspondence on the matter for inclusion in the minutes if you are unable to delegate. I have received confirmation from staff that there are no further requests to speak. Does council have any questions for staff? Or if you have any comments or direction, I will allow that as well. We're at questions for staff as well as comments and direction. Councillor Hamilton?
Thank you, Chairman. Through you, I just had a question for staff. I know these are going to be units in which families might be living, there might be kids walking to school. Do we know if there are any crosswalks close by to this facility or where those crosswalks might be? So if we are increasing density in the core and there's more traffic, where would the kids cross safely?
I will look into that, or through the chair, sorry, I will look into that and provide some information about crosswalks in a future recommendation report.
Again, a follow-up question, Councilor Mehta, thank you. And kind of related, if kids are walking, do we know where the closest schools are?
Through the chair, the school board is circulated on these applications. So again, I can follow up with the school board and look into their comments and provide you with some information on where those boundaries would currently fall at this time.
Great, thank you.
Councilor Sherrari?
I just wanted to caution for this particular area, which I'm very intimately knowledgeable, that road on Guelph, there's already considerable amount of traffic. So there's going to be a lot of traffic, but that's not my issue here. The issue is the parking. And right now, there's not a lot of parking, and we can't tell people you can't have a car, or can you? And that's my concern, because right now, even with the development by Forbes, in the Forbes estate, there's going to be probably not enough parking, and people then will be parking on the roads where they shouldn't be parking, and I get a lot of complaints with that. So just to be cautious about that we really do need parking, and not everybody can take a bus. And just even going up the hill to Queen, it's pretty steep, especially if somebody has accessibility issues, or a senior, or a mom with a bunch of kids walking and icy. So just something to think about. Thanks.
Councilor Devine?
Yes, thank you through the chair. Schools. The schools are north on Guelph Avenue. There's a relatively new separate school, just not far from there. And the public school is just off Guelph Avenue. So the schools are fine. Okay, there's no problem with schools in that area at all. Okay, just assure you of that. Thank you.
Councilor Cooper?
Yes, thank you, Chair Mehta. I'm very kind of conflicted with this one here, because there's elements of this that I love. I love the layout. I think its location is fantastic. In a situation like this, especially when you've got 100% what was considered affordable housing, and again, I applaud you for that. Thank you for this. And I'm kind of conflicted with regards to, considering it's affordable, I would be much more willing to be okay with a bit of a reduced parking rate. Say if it was down at, one per unit, which is something I would not think is enough, but that'd be a compromise I'd be willing to do to have such a large unit of affordable housing. But I'm concerned that it's not at 1. We're going down to 0.75. And with that, we've got 0.75, and we've also got this basically free-for-all parking. There's no assigned spots. People are going to be using cars here. They want to, whether you like it or not, especially when you're living in this extreme corner of Cambridge. It is not anywhere near to any grocery store, many other places that people want to go to. We're kind of opening ourselves up for a situation where people are going to use cars, and with this free-for-all, I'm fear some people would come back at night and there wouldn't even be a spot to park in. So again, I thank you for your efforts towards affordable housing. I'm just concerned that while I would give a concession to the parking, I don't think it's appropriate to do a concession to this level. I wouldn't be able to support it for that. If it was a bit greater, maybe I could. So that's what I have to say to that. Thank you.
Councillor Kimpson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm wondering if there might be some consideration given to some additional amenity spaces for the development, whether there be a tot lot or some green space, or somewhere where a parent or caregiver can take children to play on site and let them burn off some steam and some energy that doesn't require having to cross a busy road or go around the block to a park or something like that. So just to take that into consideration, it's really important that people have the opportunities to get outside and get the fresh air and not be sort of cooped up. So I'd like some consideration to be given to that if possible.
Councillor Devine?
Yes, through the chair. Can anybody tell me how many accessible units will be in this building? And how many accessible parking spots there will be? Can anybody tell me?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, about 10%.
10%?
10% of the 112 units, yes.
I'm sorry?
10% of the 112 units, so 12 units,
Okay, so 10% of the units will be accessible?
yes.
Okay, and how many accessible parking spots?
I'd have to check the site plan. And again, we're still in the design stage.
Okay, we can get that after, that's all right. Councillor Hamilton?
Thank you.
Are there any other comments or direction? Mayor Jan?
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. I'm really concerned, like everybody else is, with the lack of parking on this site. I think that they need to add more and bring it up to at least one per unit. Yeah, I'm just not happy. We keep running into this problem all over the city, and I don't want to get into that same problem here. And I had forgotten about the big development across the street. We're going to have problems with that, plus this. We're just opening ourselves up to more problems. So I'd like to see more parking happening here. And we can't even count on buses to go to the grocery store because GRT changes that on an annual basis as to where the spots are and where the runs of the bus lines are. So we can't just guarantee that because it might be on a bus line today, that it's going to be on a bus line tomorrow. So we have to be careful when we bring that into the picture. I was just at Regional Council today, we just got into the Grand River Transit business plan. And I wanted to make sure the timing and frequency of how often that'll come back to council again. And so it's going to be the same as what it is now. So it's at least once a year that stuff is all up for grabs again, and it could change even once a year. So we have to keep that in mind when we talk about alternate transportation too.
Thank you, so we'll take that as direction. Any other comments or direction? So I think we've covered a lot of the issues. I'll just make a comment. I think it's a great proposal with having affordable housing, good location. We do have some things to work through as we've discussed. I do want to also mention I would like the facade to blend in more with the core area. To do that during the design stage and to also have more balconies on the building as well for the outdoor amenity space. And I declare this meeting closed. Councillor Sherreri, you have the motion. Could you please read it?
Thank you, Chair. Meta. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Devine, that all presentations and correspondence from the April 8th, 2025 Planning Statutory Public Meeting Committee be received.
Thank you. We'll call the vote.
Opening voting. Closing voting. And that carries.
And Councillor Earnshaw, you've got the motion to adjourn. Can you please read it?
I do, yes. Thank you, Chair Mehta. It's moved by me and seconded by Councillor Schwery that the Planning Statutory Public Meeting Committee does now adjourn at 7:19 p.m.
Thank you. We'll call the vote.
Opening voting. Closing voting. That carries.
And thank you to everyone for taking the time to contribute your thoughts during our meeting. Have a great evening.